Sometimes it's the watches that we don't own that stick with us the most. In today's video, I'm going to talk about a watch that will always have a place in my mind and in my heart, but it will probably never have a place in my collection. But I do have it with me right now. This is the Tudor Ranger, and not just any Tudor Ranger, a special Tudor Ranger that was specifically and customly made in Geneva by the Tudor factory for the unit that I currently serve in, the 75th Ranger Regiment. For those who are new here, I'm Tyree and this is Wrist Unwound, and I like to talk about where watches and stories meet. And if you watched the last Watches with Meaning video, I talked about the watch that I got when I became a commander within the 75th Ranger Regiment, an incredibly special watch to me that will always be priceless. But in today's video, I'm going to talk about something a little bit different that also marks my time in Ranger Regiment. And particularly, it's the Tudor Ranger that I didn't buy.
Subscribe.
Now, before going into the watch, I didn't really provide a lot of context last time, but I do think it's important for this video to talk a little bit more, not only about myself a little bit, but more about the organization that I'm in, the 75th Ranger Regiment. Now, this is not going to be a video that breaks down the history, because it'd be too great for me to cover, and I'm not sure the whole audience would want to listen to it. But if you are interested in that, not only go check out the 75th Ranger Regiment's PAO team, they have some incredible videos, and I might even featured in one of them as well. But they will break down a little bit more about the history and context of the Ranger Regiment. But in this video, I do think it's important to have a overview and brief understanding of who Rangers are and what we do.
Don't break the like.
The Ranger history actually predates much of America itself. When you take it back to prior to the American Revolution with Benjamin Church, who helped fight off the Native Americans. And then from Benjamin Church, we moved to Francis Marion and his tactics of the beginnings of guerrilla warfare during the American Revolution. Rangers have made an impact on American military history throughout time and throughout history. Whether it be Merrill's Marauders, the impacts that we had on D-Day, to modern day history, which is more popularized in things like Black Hawk Down. Rangers continue to shoulder more than a share of the task and be the best that we can be and show that Rangers truly do lead the way. And that's what makes this watch so special and made it so hard to say goodbye to. This watch is special for many reasons. Not only is it a great watch from being from Tudor and it being a Ranger and having all the great significance from their side, but the watch is significant to us as well. Part of it was because we were able to get their factory in Geneva to actually custom engrave each of the case backs with a couple things that are important to us. The first thing is having our motto, Sua Sponte, of their own accord. Every Ranger, past and present and future, understand the importance of Sua Sponte, the importance of being of our own accord, and it really embodies the spirit of Rangers past and present. The next thing is what is listed on top of the case back, which is RTLW, which stands for Rangers Lead the Way. This is a phrase that was echoed on the beaches in Normandy as we not only rushed the beaches but also climbed up Point de Hoc and helped secure the beach for the Allied forces. Throughout our history, a huge part of what we are meant to be, not only for the Army but for the world, is to lead the way. And so having both the Sua Sponte and the RTLW on the top really encapsulates a lot of our culture and our vision. But in the center of the case back is our crest, which I think was the most important part of it all for me and for the other collectors who ended up getting this limited run of only 12 Tudor Rangers. And that's the DUI, the unit crest. You can tell a lot about a unit from their crest because each crest is really made with a lot of different types of symbolism. So beginning with our unit crest, while the colors are not represented on the case back, which would have been unreal, the colors do represent the history that we have. And so the blue, the red, the yellow, up to 6 different colors, these all represent the original names of the units that were part of the Merrill Marauders, which were represented by colors. So beginning with the colors, the blue, the white, the red, the green represent the 5307th Composite Force, which is the official name for Merrill's Marauders. The units at this time were represented by colors. There was actually 2 more, the orange and khaki, but that's not represented on the crest. But this is a great tie back to our history and our heritage. As well as when you look at the crest, you have the sun, the star, and the lightning bolt in the middle. The sun in the top left corner represents the sun actually from the original Chinese flag, representing the Chinese forces that we fought alongside throughout the campaign as Merrill's Marauders. And in the bottom quadrant, you have the star, which comes from the Star of Burma, which is now known as Myanmar, which is where the campaign took place. The red lightning bolt in the middle represents the quick strike notions of the Merrill's Marauders and our ability to strike anywhere, anytime. And still today, whether it be coming from the sky, whether it be coming from the ground or coming from the sea, Rangers are able to lead the way and strike anywhere in the world. So having all the components on this watch truly made it something special. Not only because it says Ranger on the dial, which is not just for us, but having all the components of our history really made it something that I thought was important. And having it only limited to 12 different personnel who are only members of the Ranger Regiment who at least wore the scroll once in their career, I think that made it something that was so unique that it really can't put a price on it. However, there were some things that held me back, and the reason why I actually didn't purchase the watch. The first is I had started off with some reservations. As I was thinking about the price, as I was thinking about the watch, I wasn't in love with it. I really liked it. I loved the history behind it. I loved the story that it told, but I wasn't quite in love with the Tudor Ranger. And while I wasn't in love, I knew someone that was. There was a member of our team, a great NCO who had served his career there and who really wanted to be a part of the order, who wasn't in the original 12. And seeing his love and knowing his passion for watches as well, I felt it was better to allow him to take my spot, and then maybe I'll come in at a second order later on. The second reason that I didn't purchase the watch was actually my frustration with Tudor, because I felt like the lineage and history of our unit, we deserve to be able to have our dial customized like units in Europe. However, they didn't quite agree with us, and that frustration and their unwillingness to work with us with a customized dial really kind of put me off and made me not want the watch as much. And then the third reason why I ended up not purchasing the watch is actually just my collecting philosophy. There's a lot of different ways that people collect watches. There are some people who just have one watch, they love it, and that's the watch they wear every day for the rest of their life. There's others who have a rotation for different things in their life. Me, I love variety. There's a reason why I have 150 watches. I'm a person who will wear 2 or 3 watches in a single day. On a weekend, I'll go through 6, 7, maybe even 10 watches because I love when I change my clothes, when I change my activity, having different watches to tie to different things. For me, they're not only memories, but they're accessories that kind of bring out the personality or the story that I want to tell. And so for me, to spend this much money on a watch that would get as much wear time as a watch at $70 Timex, I couldn't quite justify it yet. Now that doesn't mean that I'm not going to buy a Tudor in the future, and there's actually a solid chance that I'm going to be a part of the next custom order. But at the time, I wasn't ready to quite commit. And I think that's an important lesson for anyone in your collection journey. Your journey is a journey for a reason. It's not a destination. Take your time. Patience is a virtue. And as you grow and as you learn, yeah, you're going to make some mistakes, but you still have time to recover. And for me, I knew it wasn't the right time. And so in the future, maybe I'll hop into the next order, but I knew that I didn't want the Tudor Ranger at that specific point. Which I think kind of brings me to the overall concept of this episode, watches with meaning. Every watch that you purchase, every watch that you don't purchase, they all have an impact on you. They have an impact on your collection journey. And I think that when it comes to watches with meaning, the most important thing is the meaning. It doesn't mean that you even have to have it and own it. You can watch watches from afar and appreciate them and love them and respect them. Well, thanks for listening to my TED Talk and emotional about watches with meaning for me. And while this Tudor Ranger may or may not ever end up in my collection, it will always still have meaning to me regardless. Thank you for tuning in this far. You could have been anywhere in the world and you chose to spend your time with me, and I am incredibly thankful. If you enjoyed this content, there should be some more videos being suggested, I think right around here. But make sure you like this video and subscribe. Once I get to 1,000 subscribers, my wife said I can buy one of my Grail watches, and this time I'm not gonna actually back out of it. So I appreciate you guys. You could have been anywhere in the world and you chose to spend your time with me. Oh, and if you're still here, Kyle, thanks again, man, for letting me borrow the watch. I really appreciate it. And to Hank, because you didn't let me borrow the watch, this is why you're bald. But yeah, God bless. Peace.